Okay, fáilte rash. So, here has made a little starter of into Kayla. So I started stripping this Ferguson 20 diesel starter yesterday evening, and I kind of started thinking then after a while I probably should video it. So rather than putting it all back together to show you what it looks like, this is another one that I have here. This is a 1955, I think it is. It's upside down there. 55, 7 to 55. This one's a 53, so it's the right vintage. I think I cleaned it up there. Yeah. 53 is written on them there. There, 653. Okay, so we started stripping it down. Commutator looks good. Little bit worn, all right. There's no doubt about it. There's not a massive amount of gap in between them. There should be a bit more of a depth to them, really. But then when you look at the side here, it doesn't look too bad. So maybe that's just the way they are. I'm used to working on the TVO ones, and the TVO ones, I think I have videos on them as well. The TVO petrol starters are there. So we got all them for working on other videos. So anyway, yeah, rather than just going ahead and doing this, I said no, I may as well record it. Better go Magdini sauce. Maybe people want to see the video. So this is our brush plate, I think it's called, right? These are all very good. They were replaced at some point because they were soldered in, because otherwise you'd have to go taking out rivets. So that was what people did. That's soldered in as well. The other two are in here, or in the kind of case in here, and they are soldered as well. So it definitely got new brushes at some point anyway, and all this looks very good and sturdy. We've got the insulating fibre washers there, and two lovely brass half-inch ish, I find half inch is tight enough, nuts there, so that's lovely. I took off the kind of strap for the solenoid. I did try and save the original screw bolt on that, but it was too far gone. It was a flathead slot on one side, and this solenoid is fecked. You can't press that in. So that's an original Ferguson cable there that joins that to the starter. So we'll go and try and remove that now. We'll put it in the vise. I'm just looking for things to do here. This is definitely one thing we can do straight away, because I want to save that original cable, because the connections on them are usually way better than connections you're going to go making yourself. Now, this is well and truly, the nut is well and truly rusted out of it. So we'll try and tap on a socket onto it. It should be about 11 if I'm not mistaken, but it's definitely rusted back to God knows what. So we'll give it a tap there on and see if it catches. See if it can grip it, and if it does, well and good. If not, we'll give a 3 loss so they can tell it. We'll give something else a go. So no, it really is well and truly rusted for whatever reason compared to the other one. Everything else came together, gone Iber bit, without a fibe, without a problem. So we're very lucky so far. That's why I kind of said then, you know what, let's just record this, because it will help people. And so that started coming off there. And maybe it's not actually that rusted. Maybe it actually has this kind of a washer cast into it. But mind you, it looks a lot different than that one. But we want to salvage the nice cable here, so we'll take that off and have a look at the cable. These are just a fantastic connection there, you know, from factory, and I think with a bit of a nicer covering over that, like heat shrink or a bit of piping or something like that, we'll definitely be able to make that look a lot better. Considering this carries the full current from the battery in through the solenoid, you know, it's important that the connections are good, like brilliant. So we can tidy that up. Now another thing I have to remove is the solenoid, and as you look under there you see there's a flathead screw bolt there on both sides, and of course you can't get a flathead screwdriver in there. So whoever fitted this really should have put the flathead on the top, being honest, rather than going messing with that. Now I was thinking I could put, no I can't, I was thinking I might be able to put a flathead bit in that, but it's just a little bit too long. So I'm going to try another little trick. It might work, it might not work. I have another little ratchet screwdriver here. If this works, we're in business. If not, no, it's not going to work either. You can put your bit in that screwdriver bit, and no. So that's unfortunate. I don't know how they managed to put it in that way. And it's a pity because they're nice, neat. They're nice, neat nuts and bolts, and I do like to try and salvage as much of them as I can. It does seem to be the same thread as the screw bolt that was in there, so it kind of tells me it might just be original. So the fact that I can't grip it under there and it's definitely just going to turn on it tells me, you know, we might just, I don't know how we're going to have to probably cut it off. I think that's probably going to be our only option here. Chances of getting this actually working, this solenoid working, is going to be fairly low. They're on a spring. Probably that button should come in and push in and spring out. So I think it's fair to say that's never going to work again. So the bottom of these is turning, so it's an awful pity that we can't just grip them at all under there. There's no way of gripping them. Both of them are turning, so I think it's just going to be a matter of maybe hacksawing off that there. This is only, unfortunately, it is only scrap. Hacksawing it there and then push this out, and then we'll have enough room then to cut that off. So I think that's probably all we're going to be able to do. So we'll take off the nut, might be able to salvage that. There's other connections here that we might be able to salvage as well, like these that are held on with that. So we'll have a go of taking them off, put them in the electricals box, because at least we know they can be used. They can be used for similar parts. So try, I think I have an 7/16 long reach here, just to get onto there, and we do indeed. So we'll try him for a spin and see if he comes off. Okay, so he's not cooperating just yet. So we'll try a normal 11 there. Tap him on. That looks a little more promising of a fit. Yeah! There we go, at least we'll salvage a few parts. I have a little bag for all of these connections. Some of these kind of connections, you see them on coils, ignition coils and stuff, and I find them handy because I have an old 60s Triumph motorbike as well, and I find the Lucas connections kind of fit the coil on the Triumph motorbike, and they fit the gold belly TVO behind me there as well. So yeah, this doesn't look great when it's able to move like that. So this is only scrap, so we'll take off our bits that we need. There's a female connector on that, so that's something that can be used. Nice, I like them kind of connections, they're nice and solid. And that one's broke off as well there. So we'll try just to give him a yank off. And then we'll be able to pack that away then. They're nice big connections there, you know, there's definitely a few uses for them on vintage yokes. Try and pull off the broken spade connector, and yeah, there we go. So now we've two of them, one small and one big. So yeah, I think they might get me out of a hole down the road, but for now we've got to get this band off, someone had put on an earth lead from this back to, where did they have it? Oh yeah, on the body of the starter. There's no need for it at all, the whole lot's earthed anyway. And you don't need to earth these solids, I don't think. I've never seen them earthed before. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll hacksaw off this and we'll get it off the band. I don't like doing this kind of stuff, but this is pure scrap now, unfortunately. But they're easily got, these solenoids. So I'll get a hacksaw. They're not expensive, and I will definitely be buying a new one for this starter. I didn't test it to see if it works. I never do. I strip them first and then they usually work. So I'll come back when I have this cut off. Right, so I have a cut there. I'm just tapping this bracket back down so we can get a bit of, you can get that nut and bolt cut off there. Okay, so may as well do that since we have it facing up there. Let it out a bit. I'm going to be careful I don't damage this band because I don't see them for sale separately, and it's an original part. That's enough of a reason not to be damaged. Okay, now we're getting down to where we want it to be. And this one here, unfortunately, there's no slot in that the whole way, so we have to be a little bit more, use a little bit more imagination with this one. Let me see what we do. It's actually a nice little piece of wire that the connections are done very well on it. Nearly the kind of wire I'd keep for another job, but it's going to be pretty hard to keep it if I have to cut off this. Don't think I'll be able to get it underneath it there without damaging the band. There you go. That answered that. And we didn't do too much damage at all. And we probably, yeah, we saved our wire. So I have a little jar kind of there, or a little box for these kind of little wires, you know, when I think they're handy and they might be able to be used again. This will have to be shot blasted lightly, just to clean it, get all the rust off it and then preserve it. It's nice to have it. It's not in the bad condition, so that's good. This is the other band from around where the brushes go, and it has insulating there, so we have to be careful actually not to go damaging that. There's little clips in there, see them there, and that's meant to go in behind that clip and pull forward and catch it. So might just get a little pick in at that and just pull that out so it catches it again. It's important because some of the wires going to them brushes can hit off them and it can start earthing. So I'm the same with this one here, it's just come off its clip. So bend the clip up and out a little bit. Got a dirt in behind it. After all these years, 1953 makes it 71-year-old. Now that's sort of clearing out a big lump of dirt there. So I should catch it now. I've never seen it done like this on the other starter motor, which is interesting. And it catches it like that. And bend it in a little bit around. That one there in the middle is there, still in situ. Managed to salvage the nut and bolt. Did a bit of cleaning up on that. A nice little 1/4 inch nut on it. So that's good. Okay, so that part's useful. That part's useful. We've done the least amount of damage. Yes, we've had to cut bits off, but they're bits we're going to be replacing anyway. So I'm going to have a quick look into this casing now and see what's what. And that's gone beyond use. It's too cracked. So we'll have a little look down into this, see is everything looking good on the field coil side of things. Good strong connections coming into that. Really big chunky lumps of what I call them wires or straps nearly. So just checking all the connections there for that they're good. They were soldered in anyway. These aren't worn very even, but that's because the spring was put down this side more and it put more pressure, that's why. So we'll make sure to put the springs on in the middle. So not like a dynamo, these are 4 field magnets. Dynamo only has 2. Okay, so they're coming right in. All of that looks good. So one thing I do like to do is make sure that this surface here, where it meets in the other part of the start, I want to make sure it's nice and flat. Because if there's lumps and bumps or a dunt of a hammer or a burr on that, it won't fit together as tightly as it should, and you'll end up with the commutator having free play up and down, and that just ends up wearing your brushes and causing resistance. And so just taking the minute just to give this a little clean up. It's worth it, like, in the long run. And then in there as well, what I like to do is just give it a clean out. A Dremel or wire brush on the drill, whatever. Make sure there's no dirt in it. Have a feel for any burrs, because this was a part before, definitely. So I have a scratch on that scratch with a pick there, and make sure there's a bit of something on it there. May as well have all of that. This is to meet up with a little dimple, and if there's dirt in there, it won't meet up right, and you'll end up with a bit of free play. Okay, that's all it takes. Okay, so there's a bit of a connection made there years ago. Very interesting, that, how they did that. Let's get the torch to show you that. Yeah. Okay, again, just to focus there, and I'll shine the torch there. See if there's an interesting connection. So that's joining one field coil into the other. So we obviously have to make sure that that is looking good. It has to carry a fair amount of current there. It's not even worth testing that with the multimeter now to make sure there's no resistance, because it's solid. So whoever did that did a really good job. So that's all right. And the same with the other side there, there's another connection done. Very interesting. Never seen that like that before. So looking down there, apart from a good blowout of the air gun, which is going to get now, I think, and a bit of a clean up at the top here, that mating surface there, I think that's probably all it's actually going to need, I'd say. Hopefully. Everything looks good. Actually some old paint on it. Same thing there, we'll just get a pick and scratch out. Sorry about that, the camera's gone completely. There's stray. Scratch out there so that that dimple can go down in there and line everything up for us, rather than stand proud and put a bit of free play into that commutator. Right, I'll give that a blow out the air gun and we'll go back. Okay, so we'll move on to this side here of the starter. I just want to take off this here. Get a look here. These boots are available, these rubber boots. Bought a few of them before. The same as the Ferguson Major and the Ferguson Dexter as well, these starters I think. So we'll take it off, have a look. I want to see is this starter button working here. So these were complicated enough in one way, in that they're not a pre-engaged starter. The lever comes from the gear stick and it pushes this way and it puts the starter in gear, and at the same time it presses a button on this switch here, and that sends power from your positive through there and it sends it to your solenoid, which is in a busker brewsker as we speak. Sends it into there on the solenoid. This energizes up an electromagnet and that pulls a bar across them, and then all of a sudden you're joining your battery cable, your positive battery cable on one side, and then this to the other, and that goes down to the actual inlet of the starter, and then you have full power, because that little switch obviously wouldn't be strong enough to be able to power or them wires to actually get that to turn and to turn an engine, big diesel engine. So that's how they did it. So you had to put it in gear by hand, and at the same time you had to make the switch, to press the switch through that mechanism. So a little bit more complicated than your Ferguson 20 petrol starter motor, or what's on the gold belly over there. Yeah, so these can be fairly bloody tight. I might have to throw that into the, throw it into the vise. We'll get it into the vise. I think I worked on the other two nuts already. How we do this? It's hard enough to get a grip on it. One thing I will say about them is they are bloody heavy. When something's are to fall out there, I'd say that's a truss washer. Yeah, truss washer, and that's on this side here, so we'll keep that safe. Just want to grab it, get a grip on it there. Possible. No, it's probably going to be harder to get a grip on it than I think, and I hope. Just so I can get a grip on those screw bolts there with a screwdriver. So maybe that's not going to be possible. Okay, so let's get a screwdriver onto there. Go for a bigger screwdriver here. There we go. And then we'll slot these a bit better with the tuner hacksaw just to clean them out. That should do it. I'll try and get this one moving, and we'll give them a slotting as well. Might be harder to slot in because we have the size of the bracket, but we'll slot them in the vise. if we have to. Put in a narrower screwdriver now because we have our big bugger. It's moving there now. I just want to get looking at this switch here. I think you can buy them new. So they're all after coming out, so I just put 2 of them back in. So I want to work on this switch here, and that involves taking out these 2 tiny little grub screws, and I don't know if they're going to go coming out. So I'm after slotting that one there a little bit. You'll see it there. Cleaned up his slot there, and this one isn't too bad, and I'm not going to be able to slot it because it's turned inward. So I'm going to try and take them out, of course, but I don't think it's going to come out. The wire is kind of rusted as well, so I think the whole lot is going to be a little bit awkward. It would be lovely to get it out. Oh, right, say nothing. I know it can be hard to get these bloody screws because I've tried it before, where they were missing or rusted too far. So I will definitely try now and salvage these because they're handy and they're neat. This one here now. There we go. Jeez, that was tight. If I'm not mistaken, it's a kind of a wedged thread they go into, kind of a wedged brass thread. So it's a strange connection. Okay, so there we go. Get them out. And now we should be able to. Okay, yeah, I was going to say it might be a very, very kind of a light shot blasting at most. That'll be needed on that. I have opened up one of these switches before on neutral starter switch on the gold belly there. Something similar. There's a ball underneath like this. When you put the high-low lever into neutral, that comes up and pushes it up. And let's get a smaller screwdriver. It works a switch. So you can strip these. This involves bending these tangs back, little tabs back. Obviously going as easy as you can. This is a Lucas part number, yeah. So you can see it is Lucas written on it. It's kind of a bakelite, so you can do damage to it very easily. So I'm going to take my time, try not to damage it. I'll take it apart, we'll clean it. I usually have to shot blast the metal bits in it. I'll get a better pick in underneath there. One tab underneath here. We're getting him to shift. And this should pull out. And we should see plenty of rusty stuff inside there that can do a clean. If I don't break that. Okay, so that's looking fairly good. Should be a spring in it, so it should want to come out as long as we have everything opened enough. It definitely would definitely needs a good clean anyway. Now, maybe if we move it, turn it upwards, we might have it some way other than down, we might be able to get a better look at it. But it mightn't grip it at all there. Yeah, let's see if we can work our magic on this. See, it was never taken out. Let's see, it's happy where it is. And could end up destroying the whole thing, trying to take it out. So I might just have to do a little tap, tap, tap around here and there. See if we can get it to shift. I'm sure it will come out, it's just there's a lot of dirt and stuff holding it in. Okay, what can we do? Try and push from behind here, maybe. There's a lad on the spring here. Pushing him in. Well, let's move him there a bit. Okay, just a little bit. Try just to prise him out a little bit. It's horrible to break the bloody thing. Okay. Let's give him the tiniest little tap. Okay. That's not looking too bad there now. We're starting to come out. There we go. Okay, so yeah, same as the neutral position on the gold belly. Just needs a good clean up. Really good clean up. Right. So we'll give you a look down in there. It's probably salvageable. That side doesn't look bad at all. The other side just looks a little bit. Look on the bench here now. We'll have a little look at it. The other side is just looking a bit rusty. These tabs here need to be clean. So we take out the spring anyway. Don't think power was going to go running across that in a rush now. Okay, we'll put it in the vise. We'll hold it nice and softly, and we will hit it with the Dremel, see if we can polish that up a bit to the point where it might just be able to work again, but dampness has just got the better of it, I think. Mind you, the one in the gold belly wasn't mighty either, and it's working very good now since. So we'll just try and hold it there nice and softly, and then just hopefully get the Dremel just to softly clean it up to the point where it might just be able to work again. We'll just go in from the other side now to get the bristles to rub it the other way. Yes, one side of it is very, very not good looking now at all. Not great looking at all. This kind of side there isn't great. That's shiny there. That's just not good. But that was the same as the gold belly. And it's working fine. It doesn't have to carry a massive current, but at the same time, it's annoying when these things don't work. What we'll do is we'll take off the rubber boot. We'll take all that off now, and we'll try and get this switch here stripped down a bit better. Now, so these are all loose, so they should come out handy. And we can just take off the rubber boot part and then put back on its bracket, at least it'll hold it steady, hold the switch steady. Okay, so these are usually well stuck on here as well. time and all of that. How's that held on there now? Is it on a thread on that? It must be just as... It must just be. So we'll hold it on in the vise here and try and get it, I don't know, pliers onto that and see what can be threaded off. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Jeez, it's tight anyway, whatever the feck it is. It's not a bolt head right now. It's a good one. Maybe we don't need to take it off at all. Well, I do need to take off. I do need to take off that rubber. I know that's probably going to mean that we damage it. But these can be bought new anyway. I just think it's the only option we have here now to get in is that. Because if I go shop blasting that, I'd probably be able to shop blast. I might shop blast that and come back actually. If we damage, we damage. If it stays where it is, it's fine. Okay, so let's chop blast it up a bit better now. Looking a bit better than it was. So that's good. And this bit here, I think it's just little tabs on the side to do the trick. So there's a sign of them. And they're copper, so you don't need a lot. I think that's all that's done needs of that. Okay. That goes down in there. Okay, so a little bit stiff, so we'll just give him a bit of rust and stuff on him there, so just give him a quick rub. If he gets caught, your starter is going to keep spinning. That's all right. I'm going to put a bit of grease down there. And that should seal it up. And a bit of grease all around in there. Like that. That's good. That couldn't do much harm, can it? And of course, when the spring goes on that, that should keep her back. Okay, so that's good. All greased up, all cleaned up. Yeah. So that's good. So that's that bit we left on our boot. If we need to replace that at some point, we can do that easy enough. And this bit here, we're hoping that's usable again. Don't really know what else I can do with that. I mean, you can't get any sandpaper in there really, like, you know, it's fairly tight on space. half frightened of metal starting to flake off it. If there was some kind of grease you could put on it that would conduct electricity, allow electricity to pass through it, that would be the stuff you'd want. I think probably have to put some form of grease on it anyway. It's going to be hard to go any harder than that. I don't know, does normal grease allow electricity through it, but it needs something, so just put that bit on it there. Okay, so with all that in mind, that much done, I have to find the spring again. There it is, and that spring goes down in there, and we have to put back together now and see how it goes. Okay, with the camera out of the way, you put this back in the vise there, keep it all, get a grip on it there in the vise, have a go put in the back and see. We can test it then with the multimeter. Okay, now one thing, those connections in there are fairly dirty. Might just get just a straight pick and see if I can give it a little bit of a clean. I'd love to know what thread this is, because I'd love to be able to match up new screw bolts, because they're bloody hard to find, I can tell you. Okay, I'm going to go with that. I think I can't get a shot blaster in there without making shit of the whole part, I think. It is a Lucas part, so it is the original, or an original part. Maybe not the original to this, but most likely is, to be honest. Because a lot of these, I wouldn't really give them any issues. Okay, so we'll try put it back together like we did with the neutral starter switch on the go belly, and that was a good news story, it worked. So we'll see, will this baby work? We've greased up. Got to get our spring on that hole there. There's a click that we want to hear anyway. Okay, lovely. That's good anyway. There's one tab. Okay. Another tab. And the final one. There we go. We didn't break any tabs. Well, that's not too bad. And it's solid, so. And our button is pressing in and staying still, so it's not moving with it. So I suppose what we can do is get our multimeter now and test it. I'm going to test this for continuity, so when you have continuity like that, you hear the beep. so put them in. I could put the screws in, but no, I'm not going to bother till I'm sure this is working. Hopefully it is working. Jeez, it takes a fair amount of pressure to even press that button on the thing. So it's not looking good so far. Right. Is this going to be the one that we fail on? There you go. This could be the one that we fail on. Or just thinking, did I have that in the right way? I don't know. Did I have the bit in the right way? I have to take it apart again and see. So I'll take it apart and see. I'll show you what I mean when I get it apart. By the right way, what I meant was this has to meet up with that a certain way to make the connection. I have a feeling mine wasn't. Has to go down in there. If it's this way here, and it probably was, I thought it was that way, ain't gonna work. So we gotta make sure that it goes that way. And another thing we have to do, and I'm only realizing now, is these little tabs on it there have to be bent a little bit straighter so they have a greater reach. These are actually bent nearly flat, so we want to bend them up a little bit to get them longer. And that should help a little bit as well, instead of being bent flat. Of course, the adjustment on the rod is important because it's too long, it's going to go bending this. So we do want that to be fitting in there. Now we're making a far better connection there. Okay, so we put him in whatever way we think is right there. Okay, and then we have to match him up with this in a way that, yeah, and I had it on wrong, so we twist him like that. I think that's probably better there now. I want to see it push that forward like that. Okay. So that looks a bit more promising now. These are all little things you just stumble on. Okay. So a little bit loose there. Hopefully we're getting there, that we won't have to taking this off again. These little tabs, I'd say you only get so many taps out of them and then they're useless. So. Okay, we'll repeat the test now and see does that work. Right, let's give this another go there now. So we'll zoom in on the voltmeter, turn it to continuity. Am I confident it's going to work? Well, the one in the gold belly was nearly as dirty as this and it worked. So we should be able to get it working. Hopefully I don't have to open it again. There we go. Right, if we actually look at the resistance on it, the lower the best. Obviously 0 is the best reading you can get, 0 ohms. So if we can get down to 0, we're doing well. Yeah, so that's as good as new. Right, so sometimes these little fiddly parts, you take your time and you just just clean them all up. The little Dremel is priceless for this. You just need it. You need one of them. If you don't have one, ask Santa Claus for one. Ask Keshter Yadin and Nullag. Just super. And that little wire brush head is really soft, so you might think, Jesus Christ, he's after hitting it with a wire brush. It's only soft. You could run it on your finger like. It's ideal. Right, so that's that. I'm delighted with that. Our rubber is coming off there slowly, but we're going to leave it on because I will replace the rubber if I do get it working. That'll be another day's work. But what I want to do, I want to just work on these screws here, because these are, as I said, they're bloody hard to find. Really hard to find an original one of them. So I want to just grip it really lightly. This one needs a bit better of a slotting. So I just probably not gripping it at all there, because I want to watch the threads. Don't want to go destroying the threads. And the threads in the actual switch are brass, so they're not forgiven. They're not as hard as the threads in this screw. So you'll make a mess of it very easily. So that's one. It's good. Same thing is grip it as softly as I can. Just widen it. Just deepen the slot. That's all I want to do. So that we can get a screwdriver in and that'll tighten up. These things do not need to be savage tight like they were in this. Now I know a lot of that was down to probably rust, but still. The last time I sent a Ferguson 20 diesel starter off for getting fixed, he said, I don't have any of these screws, he says. And he went putting metric ones in from hardware, and yeah, it's not looking great. And I tried then, and it's hard to get on the fit. So if we can reuse these, we will. Very lucky that they came out. I'm very lucky that they're usable. Look at that. Excellent. So this is a salvaged switch. I'm going to make sure that screws in a little bit better than that. Yeah. And I suppose it's probably easier to slot it a bit more in here now, because we can at least hold this in the vise. And we can slot this one. And I can see the switch needs to be tapped. It needs to be tightened up a little bit better as well, as it's moving there when I'm hacksawing. So that's okay. Main thing is shield gubber. Okay. Lovely bake light. Switch. Okay. Lovely. How's the feeling there? Yeah, but we do the test one more time, make sure we haven't destroyed it. Don't think we have. We'll just try it one more time there and see if we can. Could be tempting fate here. And what we can do is we can screw them in. Screw them little screws in and let it grip the prongs. Since we're lucky enough to have got them out usable again. And now we press our button. Zero, zero, zero. So no resistance. So that is, to be honest, as good as new, really, as much as it doesn't look it. It's working as good as new. So that is a good, that's a result, as they say. And then if we want to go and replace the rubber, then this little plate comes off separate, sandwiches the rubber there. Oh well, look, that's the kind of finishing touch. So if I go shot blasting the whole lot or cleaning it all up, that'll be coming off, and that's when we'll be splashing out for a new one and a new solenoid if the starter works. So I'm going to do a quick tidy up here, and I'm going to see what the next step is. Well, I know that was lucky. Now that was. Try and keep the screws together. That might have a look at this lad now in a minute. A little bit of tidying up, and we'll have a look and see where we're going next.